Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bears Den Podcast. I am Andy. I'm joined by Chicago Clarence. I'm joined by Todd, and I'm joined by C&G VIP G Walker. So, guys, tonight we have a great show lined up for you guys. We're going to start talking about free agency. We're going to start talking about Ben Johnson and his coaching staff. And we're also going to talk about the special teams room and the quarterback room. So guys, let's get to it. We haven't talked for a while. Last time we talked, there was a dusting of snow on the ground here in Charlotte, and everybody was losing their minds. And today, 75 degrees, we're in shorts and T-shirts. But Chicago Clarence, let's start with you tonight. Ben Johnson. Now that the dust is settled, the smoke is cleared, what do you think of the Ben Johnson hiring now that we get a chance to digest?
Well, um,
65 million in 5 years is his official number. 13 million a year. That's not bad. I was expecting 15.
he's what everybody wanted. So at the end of the day, what I can tell you is he better know how to coach. He seems to be assembling his staff. I like the Dennis Allen hire, someone who knows defense. Defense is going to be our strong suit. If we can get our offense on the same par, we might be a pretty good team. But it's all going to depend on whether Ben Johnson can coach. We know he can coordinate, but can he coach?
Todd, you've had time to think about it, sleep on it. What do you think of the Ben Johnson hiring?
I'm happy with the hiring. It wasn't my first choice either, but it was everybody's. It's been everybody's darling for the last couple of years. The numbers surprised me. I thought he would get more, but look, we're a big market team. Let's act like a big market. We're starting to maybe act like a big market team. So that the fact that seen the list, he was in the top 10. Was he 7th or 8th? And
Yeah,
in annual salary. So that's pretty good. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the coordinator spots and the position coaches have come in. It's either some young up and coming, under 30 gonna be a superstar, or it's a 70-year-old guy, which is kind of funny. There's just nothing in the middle there, which is interesting. But yeah, it feels like it's more competent than it's been. I don't know, since Lovey.
Yeah. So G Walker is now joining us. He is here from C&G Podcast. So G Walker, we haven't got to hear your take on Ben Johnson. What's your take on the Ben Johnson hiring?
You know what, man? I just think Ben Johnson, man, he wasn't my first choice to be the head coach of Chicago Bears, man. I wanted somebody a little bit more experienced, somebody that developed a quarterback, somebody that developed some wide receivers, an offensive line. So I was thinking more on the lines of someone like a Mike McCarthy, someone that helped develop Dak, someone that helped develop Aaron, and someone to a certain extent that helped develop Brett Favre. You know what I mean? And he builds O-lines, and his offenses are always, QB friendly, you know what I mean? Wide receiver friendly. So I was looking forward to that. Whether it was Pete Carroll or Mike McCarthy, I had Ben as my third. But the thing I like about Ben Johnson is that he's intense. He's very detail oriented. I like the fact that Ben Johnson didn't run away from the NFC North. You know what I'm saying? He didn't tuck his ass and run away and say, I'm gonna just leave Dan Campbell in the hardest division of football. He said, nah, I'm gonna thug it out. I'm gonna stay right here and whoop y'all twice a year, every year. So I like that mentality. Then I like how he went up on the presser. He told Caleb Williams to his face, like, hey, I like you, but we got to get this done. It's bigger than you. I like you a lot, but we got to get this done, and it's bigger than you. So he set the standard. He set the structure like nobody's above the team. One band, one sound, and I like the fact that we actually got a younger guy that you can grow with, Caleb Williams. Somebody that's probably a little bit more relatable. You know what I mean, as far as what they're doing in the modern era. So I like Ben Johnson. I like the staff he's put around him. He's getting guys that are not inexperienced. He's getting guys that played in NFL for a long period of time. That some of them are Super Bowl champions, and it's just everything he's done thus far, as far as putting people in place, as far as the structure of excellence. Because we haven't got to the winning part of excellence, but the structure and the boundaries are there for excellence.
So let's talk about his coaching staff. As G Walker just touched on Chicago Clarence, I'll let you kick this one off. who do you like or dislike the most on this list of coaches that he has hired so far?
I mean, the 28-year-old offensive coordinator gives me pause. Um, I like Dennis Allen the most as defensive coordinator, but the offensive coordinator, what's the guy's name? Dan DeLuco.
Yes.
He
Declan Doyle.
Declan Doyle.
Yeah, Declan Doyle. Yeah. So
Declan Doyle.
the thing about it that worries me is we all know that Ben Johnson's going to call the plays,
Right.
but this is the guy that's going to be running the meetings, and he don't have any experience doing that. When you put Eric Bieniemy on your staff and you're making the running backs coach, which it is his background, I was just surprised that they didn't put him in that role. At least have somebody experienced at running the whole. Because when you're the offensive coordinator, you're running the whole thing. So you're over the offensive line, you're over the wide receivers coach, the running back coach. The offense is your baby, whether you call them the plays or not. Between Monday to Saturday, you're running the offense, you're running the meetings. So to have somebody that don't have any experience in that would be my only real criticism. Other than that, I'm okay with everything.
Todd, what do you think about our coaching staff? Do you like it? Dislike it?
I like it. It's interesting. Like I said, the age disparity is huge. You're either a senior or or recently a senior in high school. I mean, it's crazy. So some of these guys are pretty young, and then some of these guys are really old. Which I don't know too much about the ones they named today. The defensive assistants. I haven't looked too far into that. On that Declan Doyle, there's a lot of praise about that guy. They're talking about him being a head coach in 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
I know some of that hype, it gets overhyped, but that's stuff I heard there that this guy's got to be fast tracked to a head coach. So I don't know. We'll take a chance, especially because he's not calling plays. And something was said about, this is the guy that's going to have to live in the facility, and being a younger guy, that kind of, I don't know, if that makes that easy or what. I honestly don't know. I know we talked about Bieniemy years ago as a potential head coach, and then he ended up in DC, and I don't know what all went down there, but that whole thing kind of fell apart for him. But maybe this is a step in rebuilding back where he was. JT Barrett's a young guy still. I consider him a young guy, and I remember Randall L. not too long ago playing. So it seems like an interesting group. I know, like the offensive line coach, it was good probably to go veteran there, guys that had a lot of experience dealing, on the college level and, as an assistant in the NFL. So, but Dennis Allen was the key. I mean, that was really the first one they leaked out. I know that that drug on forever, and I guess that was a Rooney Rule thing, or I don't know why it did, but it was good to see that it came together the way we expected it to, right out of the gate.
G. Walker, what do you think of the coaching staff? Like it? Dislike it?
Good
job, bad jab?
I like the coaching staff. I know everybody's picking on a young guy, Declan Doyle. I mean, a lot of coaches, they bring along a guy that they think that's going to be next up for a head coach. I think everybody starts from somewhere. Yes. Somebody was a young assistant, film coordinator or passing game coordinator. They was something to get their start. So I wouldn't ping on that too much. I know that Ben Johnson is calling all the plays, so but like Chicago Clarence was saying, you're the offensive coordinator, you pretty much are in charge. You know what's going on. Yes. But I just think that you got to have faith in the young guy. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's so much. You got Eric Bieniemy he can lean on the offensive side. You got Antoine Randall, he's been around for a while. So I like the coaching staff. I like it's a mix of young, it's a mix of ex-players. It's a mix of OG guys, Bill Johnson and the offensive line coach. So he's put a nice balance of young and old on his team. And I think it's good because everybody's voice will be heard. If you're a young person with a young idea, I guess it'll get heard from a young perspective. If you're an older guy, you got an OG type of mind frame, it'll get heard. And I think all of that meshes together. I don't think it's a negative at all.
Supposedly the sneaky best one is Al Harris, which no one's mentioned yet.
Yeah.
He is supposedly a sneaky good hire that could really pay off, is what they're saying. That's a little quirky that he's a defensive back coach and a passing game coordinator, and he was a defensive back when he played.
Yeah,
But
and
overall-
also, you know, I'm
Yeah.
a little partial to Sean Payton and Doyle being around him for the last little bit here. It's a
Yes.
positive thing, I think.
Yes.
I would have liked to seen Payton get the job a couple of years
Yes.
ago, but anyway.
Yes. So, guys, Ryan Poles got extended. Chicago Clarence, should he have gotten extended? Should we have waited for the results of the season? But now he's married to Ben Johnson, which he should be anyway. The GM and the head coach need to be married. Should we extend him now, later, or not at all? Or wait to see what he does this year? Or at least after free agency, see what he does with our line.
There were cases to be made to fire Ryan Poles. You can make a good case to fire him. You can make a good case to keep him. You typically give a general manager more than one head coach. But everything just went so bad for this team.
Yes.
When you consider the amount of money and the resources that we put into putting a team together, how could you just get it so wrong with Eberflus? How? And then when you had a chance to reset and save last season, you doubled down on Eberflus. Now, we wasn't in those offices and in those meetings discussing on what we should do and how we should go further. But I got to believe that Ryan Poles was married to Eberflus. And then when it got too bad is when he decided he wanted to pull the plug and they finally let him. I don't know. And I really would like to have known what happened with the Harbaugh discussions. We were told that, Kevin Warren is the one who put the kibosh on that. So if that's in case it truly did happen, then you can't fire Ryan Poles because you're not fully allowing him to do his job.
Right.
So at that time is where I would be willing to give him some grace. And guys, as critical as we are and have been of him, this wasn't an entirely bad team he put together. With competent coaching, I think we have a better record. We still have the issues with the offensive line, but Ryan Poles is not the one who went out there and hired Shane Waldron and the other offensive coordinators. That was all on Eberflus. So at the end of the day, you had to do this. We don't typically do it, which is the reason why I think it was probably the best decision. But, he had better be right because this is the only one you get. Mm-hmm. And that was the reason why I was saying some of the stuff about the offensive coordinator because you just can't everything. This has got to work. This has got to work because you're running out of time. After just think about it. Your rookie quarterback is not going to be a rookie no more. He goes into his second year next year. He's going to be on his third head coach and his third offensive coordinator. Let that sink in year two.
Mm-hmm.
In year two, third head coach, third offensive coordinator. That's unheard of. Yeah, and this is all under Ryan Poles' leadership. Mm-hmm. This had better work.
Todd, Ryan Poles, I know you were all in on him, then you're out, now you're on the fence.
I'm mostly a Poles guy. But and they did the right look. They've done the right thing several times this offseason. It's not usually something we say about them. I did think when they didn't immediately do it that, that there's kind of a wink and a nod to Johnson, like, well, hey, if this doesn't start off on the right foot, and then you can bring one of your buddies from Detroit, from that scouting department or whatever, the next man up over there. I kind of felt that, but they did the right thing. So they should, and I'd wondered if that was the deal in getting Johnson. That, yeah, sure, I'm going to take your GM, but maybe, and we'll see how it goes. But I think it's positive. I think he can evaluate talent. I think he tends to fall in love a little bit. And all GMs do that.
Yeah,
but. Like I know the Chris Morgan thing, that was his guy and he loved that guy, and I think maybe Stevenson falls that way, with all the heat from this year. And I'm a big Stevenson guy, but I think he'll get under control this year. But But
Yeah.
you know, you give me a quarterback that'll smack somebody in the mouth, and I'm going to like any of those guys just want to shove you out of bounds or run you out of bounds, and so you know, I'm still a Poles guy. I wasn't 100% this year, but you know, they make mistakes clearly.
He's got some big misses though, Todd, and
He does.
you know,
He does.
yeah, the one thing that really I would say that really bothers me the most is the patchwork. I mean, we went bar shopping on the offensive line every year, and that's just you can't do that. You just can't.
Right. Well, we have money, and there's guys out there, and there's guys in this draft. Anyway, these next 2-3 months are going to be crucial.
G. Walker, Ryan Poles got extended. You agree or disagree with that?
You know what? I think I disagree. The fact that he's won 15 games in 3 years.
Yeah.
No,
how does that even warrant you an extension?
Right.
The fact that he might have been running the coop up there in the offices with Trace Armstrong.
Yeah.
And all those guys in the same agency. I don't necessarily know how he even got extended, but I think they should have waited to extend him. He hasn't proved he can be a winner yet. He got lucky with getting Caleb Williams. That was luck. Then Rome Odunze failed to him. That was luck. This offensive line has bled into 2 quarterbacks that they've drafted, 2 careers with Justin Fields and Caleb Williams with 68 sacks. So the fact that he's got an extension, I would really want to know the thinking of what Kevin Warren or McCaskey was thinking with trying to give him an extension right now. And you haven't even seen the product of what Ben Johnson can do on the field, not even in a preseason game. So I don't understand why he got an extension. I wouldn't have given him an extension. I would have waited till after the season. I'm not on board with him getting an extension right now. He did nothing at all to get an extension. Tell me one thing that he's done that's really helped this team win. It's not the roster. It's not the coaches. What has he done to get an extension?
The family likes him.
The family likes him. That's it. You know what I mean? But I would really like to know what's the thinking of Kevin Warren giving him an extension. Like, it's too soon, man. You've done nothing. 15 games, 15 wins in 3 years.
Me personally, I would have waited as well. I would have wanted to see what he did this year.
You can't. Nobody. You don't do that in sports, though, Andy.
Yes,
I know. You don't have somebody enter in their last year as a lame duck, whether it is front office or it's coaching. You don't do players like that. There was no way you're going to let him go in and do a prove it deal with 1 year. That you just don't do. Nobody does that. Not even the Bears.
And look, and all this turnover where you're talking about Caleb on his, on his third, coordinator and everything else. This solidified that to say these are your guys, and they're going to be here, and we're locked into them. So from that standpoint,
he didn't deserve it. But I agree with Chicago saying, like, you don't do that.
No.
But does he deserve it? No. But is it just politics and that's something you just don't do? It's 2 different things. It's something you don't do, letting a guy be in the 1 year in his last year's deal. But it's another thing to saying somebody deserves it. He does not deserve an extension at all. Period. No, I wouldn't. No, not at all.
So if we want to sign him into extension, Chicago Clarence, what should we have done with him? I mean, that's a tough choice. Let him lame duck it out or sign him?
If we wasn't going to sign him to an extension, then we should have fired him when we fired Eberflus.
Yeah.
Bingo.
If you had done that, I would not have cried too much. But on the other hand, guys, we got to remember something. How much do we allow him to do his job? We don't know if he was in the offices screaming for Harbaugh. We know that there was Harbaugh talk.
Yes.
And if the owner and the president is not going to allow me to do my job 100%, then how are you going to hold me accountable 100%?
And that's what I was thinking. Like, that's what I think played into them. Like, you know what? We kind of screwed you. The process was wrong, Ryan. We should have trusted you in the first place. I think that has something to do with it too, man. I don't think, especially Kevin Warren, I think he's come in that situation and understood exactly what Ryan Poles is good at. Now, if Kevin Warren came in there and said, you know what, man, McCaskey held your hand with Bill Poley and all those guys, I'm gonna get you right, bro, and I'm gonna get you extended. We're gonna go out here and get the coach you want, and I'm gonna get you an extension. That makes sense. So what you saying, Chicago, that makes perfect sense, because from the jump, I was like, there's no way he chose Matt Eberflus to be his head coach coming from where he came from. Then there's rumor that he doubled down on him. So, but I feel you, Chicago. I agree with that. I think they
because there's talk that he wanted to fire Eberflus after the New England game.
Yeah, you correct, man.
Which in fact probably would have saved our season. We don't know because we know because the defense went south when he left the team. So I don't even know if that would have saved our season. But I just don't.
He did want to fire him. Yeah,
I just don't know that you can hold him 100% accountable when you're making him fight with one hand behind his back. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yep, you're totally correct on that. You're right. He definitely did.
Shout out to our boy Craig Ralston for joining us again.
What up, Craig?
Man, and our invite stands, man. You're like one of our top guys, our top fans. You're our invite stands. You can join us anytime, man. You need to take us up on it.
So and I know we didn't talk about this before, but had they let him go, are we assuming that they would have let Johnson bring in somebody from there? Would they promoted Ian Cunningham? I mean, what do you think? And
I'm not a fan of letting somebody pick who I want my boss to be. Everybody needs to stay in their lane. Kevin Warren, that would be Kevin Warren's job to hire the general manager, and Ben Johnson we're paying you $13 million to coach the team. You're not going to tell me who you want to report to.
That seems to be the place that the family wants to interfere the most in, is that GM job for whatever reason. So I mean, maybe they would have just thrown that on Kevin Warren and gave him some sort of, I don't know.
So our boy
I think
Craig,
Kevin Warren sniffed out what was going wrong with everything up in that building, because this has been a Kevin. I've been saying it for jump. Kevin Warren changed his team, bro. Kevin Warren has changed how people see the Bears and how we might have gotten Ben Johnson. So I think he sniffed out the BS, how you don't hold a guy like Ryan Poles one hand behind his back. And I think he rewarded Ryan Poles with an extension, because like Chicago said, he seemed like he was held, man, for whatever reason. And it took a person that's to be that buffer in between McCaskey and his GM. It seems like Kevin Warren has been that perfect person to settle everything right, put everybody in their corner, and let everybody do their job. And that's happened. So, shout out to Kevin, man, because I think Ryan Poles is good at a lot of things. It's just that, like Craig is saying, he have mixed feelings about it.
Yes.
Building the O-line of the team inside out, outside in. Yeah, man, I don't know.
Now, keep in mind, because what you just said, G. Walker, is this. The second time that we had a shot at Harbaugh, the sticking point was Harbaugh wanted $10 million a year, and George didn't want to pay it.
Right.
Now we're paying $13 million.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So we know something changed.
I think it's Kevin Warren. I think Kevin Warren deserves more credit than he's getting.
Absolutely.
Harbaugh was coming off of that.
I think
the NCAA stuff too, and the ownership is just allergic to any controversy.
But I want to ask y'all this: how the hell does it was a rumor that that Kevin Warren wouldn't even talk to Harbaugh, but he ends up paying a guy more money than Harbaugh. So was it about a personal connection, or was it about money?
No, it was.
I think it was personal for Kevin Warren.
It was the COVID stuff at Michigan. That was the fight. He was the head of the Big Ten, and they didn't want to play, and Harbaugh was raising hell about it, and they just don't like each other.
And it wasn't just him; Ohio State was too.
Yeah, no. That was the standpoint of most of the coaching was, we need to play, they need to play, and it was a touchy time, man, and they just don't like each other.
Okay,
I still say you always want the person on your team to beat your ass. Yeah. Michigan always beat his ass on the field against Minnesota. Like I would always want that person on my team to beat my ass. When
Absolutely.
You guys, yeah, I mean seriously, Michigan always beat Minnesota on the field. So,
I mean, maybe it's not about winning and losses. Maybe Harbaugh's maybe a little bit too much. Sometimes some people's personality can be a little bit too much for another person. You know what I mean? Like he might be just a little bit too much. Like Kevin Warren's been around a long time. He's been around corporate America a long time, sports a lot of his life. So the fact that he was just like, nah, Harbaugh might just be too much, bro. And I don't know if that would have worked. I don't know.
I'm all about Harbaugh too, but I guarantee you that guy's got the biggest ego. I mean, in the building without a doubt.
Yeah, because Kevin is cool on his interviews, man. He's transparent. He's objective. You know what I'm saying? He talks about things in a fluid manner. He's cool. It's just like maybe Harbaugh was probably too much for his taste. personality
Well,
wise.
yeah, the proof is in the pudding though, and what you just said makes sense because the Chicago Bears have a history of looking the other way of people who make them uncomfortable. But at the
Yes.
Yeah.
same time, look what the guy goes down there. We always talk about the NFC North being the toughest division in football. Well, the AFC West is tough as well. And he
Yeah.
went there with a less than talented team and still made the playoffs. Now I know they got their butts handed to them the first round, but they still went to the playoffs. We over here
Hmm.
starving just to
Yes.
go
Yeah.
to represent ourselves and our brand in the playoffs. How would we like to be sitting here doing playoff shows? You know what I mean? I know I wouldn't mind. I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
mind
mind
coming on
either.
CNG podcast and talk about the damn playoff. And you know what I'm
Man,
saying? But
you
we don't want to hire somebody because he talks a little different or he's a little bit he likes to push back on what we typically like to do business because it makes us uncomfortable because he likes to swear during practice. We need to get up off that, bro.
and Ben Johnson be cussing at
Yeah.
practice too. I
I
seen
was
Ben
just gonna
Johnson
bring that up.
going crazy on guys,
Yes.
man. So it must be like you said earlier, it must be real personal. For real. It must have got real personal with them too.
George better
Well,
come to practice with them damn beats on then and playing come by y'all.
I don't think Kevin Warren's bothered by the cast. That was the McCaskey thing. I mean, that was the family that.
Yeah, I think yeah.
I don't think that falls on Warren.
No, I do not either. So, guys, I was gonna save this for last, but I know G Walker can't make the whole show because he's actually watched his son just win the basketball game. He's out here during intermission. So again, thank you, CNG. So let's bring
Man,
this
y'all my
up
boys,
right now.
man. Y'all my boys.
So,
I'll do anything for y'all, bro.
So social media went on fire if you're a Chicago Bears fan. We need to sign this guy or trade for this guy, Myles Garrett. We need him. So Chicago Clarence, let's kick off with you. Do we I mean, talent-wise, he has everything we need. He would probably be the best defensive lineman instead of a compliment to Montez Sweat, but
he would be the best player on our team.
Yeah, Chicago Clarence, would you break the bank for Myles Garrett?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. We have too many needs on this football team. The asking price for him, is going to be multiple firsts, multiple seconds, and we're at this point now to where we can still get to where we going without giving away the farm.
Right.
There are cheaper options now. Todd went over what his salary cap number was going to be.
I saw
That's
it
not my problem. My problem is giving away capital.
Yeah.
To get him. We're going to almost certainly have to give up our first round pick, which is number 10.
Yes.
We're talking about maybe both our second.
Yes.
That right there is going to severely hamper us. But then you talk about they may have to give up another second next year. I ain't doing that. We can turn around. We can take that money. We can go maybe sign Chase Young for half that without giving up any capital, draft an edge rusher, work on our offensive line, and be a good football team. Now, with Myles Garrett drastically improve our defense? Yes. But the asking price is too high. Too high. I'm not doing the Khalil Mack thing all over again. I'm not doing it.
I feel like
because what we gave him for Khalil Mack, it didn't do nothing but have us give a shiny toy in the garage. It didn't take us anywhere. And it took us 3 years to pay that shit off. No thanks.
I can't. To me, if you trade for Myles Garrett, you're a Myles Garrett away from a Super Bowl. Just like Ryan Pace thought he was a Khalil Mack away from a Super Bowl, and all we got out of that was a double doink, first round bye, or first round exit. I'm sorry. So Todd, would you give up your farm for Myles Garrett?
Now I agree that we're not the right fit, although he doesn't have a no trade. If they are considering him at all, you look at all the contenders and you say, well, okay, so their first round picks are going to be, late 20s, all the Buffaloes and all the teams that need this player to go to the top. We don't need this player to go to the top. I think that it's probably 2 1s. We're going to use either 10, 39, and 41. We're going to use one of those on a young edge rusher, right? So this would take care of that. So I like the idea of trading back from 10. So I don't really love the 10 spot to begin with. in this draft. But that all that being said, I think next year's one is more important to them because I don't think they're going to be in these two quarterbacks at the top of this draft. I don't think they're interested in either one of those guys. So they're really trying to be in a good spot, Cleveland, to maybe get the number one pick next year to take whichever quarterback they want. So they're definitely going to want next year's number one.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get away with, say, 39, next year's one, and you want to throw in a 3 there, if that's in the ballpark, then yeah, I'm on board with doing that.
Wow.
Would I do 10 and next year's one? I would.
Wow.
But it all depends on what we think we can do in free agency at guard. I mean, I know everybody wants 4 offensive linemen this year. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Braxton's going to start. And, if he's healthy, I think he's going to start. So I think, we're looking at replacing 3 guys in the middle. One of those, either 10, 39, or 41 is going to be a guard. I think we're going to be all in, on guards and free agency. And it may be Drew Dahlman center. I don't love that, but that seems to be the name they keep throwing around. I'm real interested in Myles Garrett. I don't think we're the right team for him, and I don't think he'd be interested in coming to us because we're too far away. He's 29. Are we going to be a Super Bowl contender in 2 seasons? Maybe. You'd want to go play for Baltimore, or you'd want to go play for Buffalo or Philly or whomever, right? So I don't think it happens, but I would consider the 2 1s and maybe a 2. I'm not doing multiple 2s and multiple 1s. I don't think they're going to get that from anybody because you're going to have to re-sign him. And even though he's a good cap number this year and next year, he's not going to be a great cap number at 32 and 33 and 34. You really have to extend that out. So that's a liability. And so you need a team that's 1 player away, and that's not us.
Well, we got that in our division. You don't want to see him go to the Detroit Lions.
Oh, he goes to Detroit.
Detroit has cap space.
No-brainer.
Detroit has the cap space to do it.
If they're looking at 2 number 1s from Detroit, they're looking at 29 and 29 next year, 29 and 32.
Yeah, that's true.
We're at 10 right now. And I mean, even if we have a great year next year, what are we going to be? 22, 23? It's a better deal for Cleveland to deal with us. But I don't know. Like we factored in Justin and where he wants to go and let the player be involved. I don't know how much Cleveland cares about that.
Yeah, everybody's not stupid like we are.
I mean, Detroit. I could see Detroit doing it, but unfortunately, their draft capital is going to be so low. Being
if I'm Detroit, I'll do 2 1s and 2 2s. That guy pushes me over the top.
Yeah, he does.
Absolutely.
You put those 2 defensive ends together.
G. Walker,
it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Would you give up your house to get Myles Garrett in Chicago?
No, I think a first-round pick, and that's it. Now, if they want more, I'll say, okay, I'll give you a second. Okay, cool. Give me a player. I'll give you Tyreek Stevenson. Give you a 1, give you a second, and you take Tyreek Stevenson. Now, my first thing I put on Twitter was I said I would give him a first round, 2 seconds, and DJ Moore, and people hated that shit. They was like, "No, I'm not giving up DJ Moore." But hearing you guys talk, hearing Chicago Clarence talking, hearing all you guys talk about it, it doesn't seem like the right fit, but you have to explore because, like y'all saying, if he goes to that division and it comes to find out that we didn't even try to get him, how would you feel about that? Because you have to explore it. Like you have to. Because I would hate for him to go to Green Bay. I would hate for him to go to Detroit or Minnesota. Whoever can afford to get him and who could push that team over the top, you have to beat them. It is an arms race for superior talent if you want to win Super Bowls. And he's still a superior talent. So a first, a second, and Tyreek, I'll give that up in a heartbeat.
Tyreek's an interesting angle because everybody's like, well, they're going to want to replace that position. And like they're throwing Austin Booker's name out there, who hasn't done anything. It's just a really developmental player at this point still. But Stevenson would start for them, and that's not a bad call.
Thank you. Yeah, you got to give him something like a starting corner. Boom, take him. Here. Yeah. He's a problem, kind of. He's still cheap. Yeah. He's a second-round pick.
Rookie year, that's
makes sense.
First round, here, take him.
G. Walker, your boy Craig said, "Hell no, I'm not my boy DJ."
Now, y'all know how I feel about DJ Moore, man. Like I don't know, man. Like Chicago Clarence, can we find another DJ Moore in the draft, man? Just to ask you that, like, is he? Can we do that, man?
Oh yeah, it's some wideouts that we can get. I'm not all that high on DJ Moore either. I don't think DJ Moore is a 1. I think he's a 2.
My man. My man. See? My dog know. He feel the same way.
I'm okay with him being a 2 because I think Rome Odunze is ready to ascend to number 2. I mean, we can win with 2 number 2s.
Yeah, but we're paying him 1 money though.
Yeah, we are.
Are we? What's it?
Well, I mean, listen, the deals that's come out after that has been big, but he got an extension, and the things that I saw out of him this year, and I know this wasn't our topic, but what I saw out of him today did not make me feel well. Walking off the field doing plays and just not giving it his all, not finishing route, and how in God's name are you the number 1 wide receiver and you're not on the same page with the quarterback? How's that happen? You're on the same page with Justin, but you can't be on the same page with Caleb? That's on you.
But that goes back to the loose locker room and nobody having to account for anything. I can throw that on. I don't know. DJ is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So
He's
Craig said he agrees with us that he thinks DJ is a number 2, and he thinks Rome is going to ascend to a number 1. I hope so.
They're gonna, I think they're gonna
that
put.
Won't bother me if Rome ascends to number 1.
They're gonna put. Ben is gonna put DJ in that Amon Ra position. And you can find them guys all in the draft. So that's why I was like, I'll give up DJ Moore. I'll give up DJ Moore.
You know who reminds me of DJ Moore? That's in the draft coming out this year. Think about it. Now, if you watch any of their football games, you're gonna agree with me. But that dude Shepard that played at Colorado, same body type. Shepard's faster, runs crisp routes, and he has really good hands.
That's why I said DJ Moore, a second, and a first. You can have him. We'll take Garrett off your head because I'll be damned if I see that dude playing for the Packers, and I got to see that every Sunday in his prime. Hell no, man. No, I don't want to see that. Or Detroit. No, you gotta do your due diligence. No way.
You want to do DJ 41 and next year's one?
For my,
I do that. I would do that.
Out of our division?
I would do that.
Well,
I would make that trade.
They would rather have next year's one than this year's one because that gets them in a better spot for a better quarterback next year.
Yeah.
If they're thinking that's idiotic.
Yeah, I'm scared of him in the division. I don't want nobody hit my quarterback. The more times he's going to get hit, I don't want to see Myles Garrett over here, man. No way, no way. Or in Detroit with Hutchinson, when he's healthy, hell no.
I think they could bring in Cousins for a year, and the quarterbacks are better next year. I mean, these guys this year, if you put them in last year's draft, they're like 6 and 7. I mean, they're after J.J. McCarthy. I mean, they really are.
Go
ahead.
Craig said, I want him over. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Like, that long, they keep heating up about him going to Detroit somewhere. That scared the hell out of me, bro.
Yeah, so, Detroit makes sense.
So now that we're talking about quarterbacks, we're going to start our free agency, or look at free agency, which begins on March 12th. And for our quarterback room, for the first time, maybe ever, that we can say this, we're pretty solid. We have Caleb Williams going forward, who's under contract till 2028. We have Tyson Bagent and Austin Reed under contract next year. So there's really nothing to discuss. I don't expect us to do anything in the quarterback room. My only question is, do any of you guys move Tyson Bagent for a draft pick? Because he had a very good camp last year and a good preseason, and there was talk of him flipping him for a late rounder. Chicago Clarence, would you move him for a potential draft pick? Even if it's a 6 or a 7.
Tyson Bagent doesn't have an NFL arm, and I've said that for over a year now.
I'm okay with that, but would you flip him if someone offered you a 6 or a 7?
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, if it was going to improve the team, I would. Also, I mean, I like what I saw out of Austin Reed a whole lot more than what I saw out of Tyson Bagent. Tyson Bagent doesn't have a strong arm. He can't throw outside the numbers. So the only thing that he has is he can recognize and diagnose defenses pretty quickly, but he don't have a good arm at all. So if I could flip him and get a meaningful draft pick or anything at all, I mean, I would. Absolutely.
Todd, would you move him for draft capital? I mean, he does have some value. There was talking us moving him last year. especially now that we saw CW play all 17 games. I would expect him to play all 17 next year.
I mean,
now if he gets sacked 68 times, he won't.
So here's the deal: we've got to make a decision on him, right? Because we have to re-sign him next year.
Yeah,
and then I mean, what are you going to pay him? To stay. That's the thing. Are you going to pay him $5 million?
No,
that's what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
So if you don't think that you're gonna get him $10 million over 2 years, then I guess you would consider dealing him. I'd hate to. I think he's a pretty sharp kid. I think he understands.
But I think he wants to.
In a best case scenario, could he be a poor man's Jared Goff? I mean, it's kind of what they're running in Detroit. He kind of looks like that. I mean, I think Goff maybe has a little better arm, but not a lot. I think you probably give him that $10 million deal over 2 years and keep him. If I could get a fifth, maybe, but I don't know who's lining up to give me that.
So if we we could keep Austin Reed for a lot less than Bagent, because Austin Reed's just coming up right now.
Yeah.
So G. Walker, what would you do with Tyson Bagent? Would you move him or keep him?
This dude cannot throw, bro.
I know,
and he's not a veteran quarterback. I had to go off camera because my tribe is in the car. Everybody, the game is over. But I'm getting rid of him, man. He's not the quarterback I will have in my system as far as helping my quarterback. How is he going to help Caleb Williams with anything, bro? We got to look at somebody that's a veteran. And it's cool that you brought this up as a topic because I pretty much said that on my Twitter page, like, Bears Nation, like, what are we going to do as far as a quarterback in Ben Johnson's offense? Like, I'm letting him go, man. Like, there's no way I'm keeping him. And that's something that I'm surprised, Andy, that they haven't brought up in all this stuff that's going on with these staff. Like, we got to talk about the backup quarterback position here. Like, that's important. That's very important.
I mean, if I'm not going to re-sign him, I flip him for a low-round draft pick. If someone's willing to give me a 7, a 6, or like Todd said, even a 5, I flip him. I keep Austin Reed as my development, and then I sign some kind of veteran.
I mean, there's some free agent veterans out there. I mean, I'm just scrolling through this on Over the Cap now. Cooper Rush jumps out. I mean, he's going to cost a little money, but he's got some experience. Just off the top of my head here, I'm just looking to see who you would bring in. I mean, it would kill chemistry, but you could probably I'm not even gonna say it. Justin.
Please don't. Please don't.
It would. I mean, it jumped off the page at me, but Heineke, who's had some games, got some experience. Not Jameis, Mac Jones, but I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. You bring in Joe Flacco for a year. He's been amazing and filling in. And Indianapolis, what is he? 40. He's 40 right now. Yeah. So I don't know. I just play it out and see. I mean, if you could get a 5th, I would do it. If it's a 6th or 7th, I probably would pass.
The thing that stands out to me about the quarterback free agency is that shows you how hard it is to get a quarterback. Because when I looked at the list, there's no one worth signing. There's no one worth. I mean, Sam Darnold is going to be the highest paid quarterback this season. He's going to be the highest paid free agent quarterback.
Drew Lock, but again, I don't think he's any better.
So Clarence, let's move on to special teams. Nothing special here. Nothing sexy. I expect us to hang on to Santos. I expect us to hang on to Taylor. We are going to need a long snapper. Both Scales and Daly are free agents. And our primary return guy, DeAndre Carter, is a free agent. You resign any of them? Clarence?
Didn't we sign a return guy the other day?
Yeah, we've already replaced Carter.
Maurice. I can't think of his
from
name.
Detroit, and he was on the 53 in Detroit.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Yeah, we have already replaced Carter. And then, listen, Tyrell Santos didn't do a bad job.
No.
So I mean, if you could sign him and the money makes sense, I don't have a problem bringing him back. Torrey Taylor, we don't need him anymore.
Torrey Taylor's Torrey Taylor was amazing, man.
Yeah, he was our
Wait a minute, no,
MVP
that's the guy we just drafted. How is
That's
he?
the punter.
Wait a minute, how is he on this list?
No, that's the roster right now.
That's
okay.
The free agents to be have free agency beside them, like
Torrey Taylor and Santos.
Hey guys,
they're good.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Go ahead and sign off.
Okay, brother, we
Walker.
appreciate
Tell us where to find you. I'll be back, man. I'll be back.
Walker, tell us where to find you.
All right, later, man. Love y'all, man. Peace.
Yes, sir. So the only thing I think we are obviously going to need a long snapper, and I would like to upgrade our return game. I mean, it was nothing special, really. Our last game was our best return game when we had the fake punt for the touchdown.
Yeah, but the rules had a lot to do with that too.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit I'm looking at the list of free agent long snappers, and I got no idea who's any good.
None.
Scales is probably going to get re-signed. I mean,
Daily.
I mean, what's he going to do?
That seems to be kind of on par with this list here. So, yeah, I would think he would be back. So, yeah, I was real happy with Torrey Taylor. I wasn't happy with that draft pick. I thought it should have been Booker. I probably could have flipped those, but we ended up with both of them anyway. So,
yeah, we ended up with
Torrey Taylor was great.
So guys, let's head into our final thoughts. I guess I'll just go first, kick us off. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the comments. And Craig, you sent us the most comments, so you're the fan of the night. So again, man, anytime you want to come on the show, let us know. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So guys, thank you again for joining us. Please follow us, subscribe to us, tell all your family and friends and fellow Bear fans where to find us. So Todd, what are your final thoughts about our Chicago Bears, or anything for that matter?
It's a we're going into the Super Bowl, but it feels like we're just because we haven't been in the playoffs in so long that we're knee deep in this postseason mode here. As far as the Bears, I think they've. Is there any coaching spots left, or we filled everything at this point?
No, we have some spots left.
Yeah, do we?
Yeah.
It's good to see that kind of coming to an end, because that's been an ongoing thing. There was one thing I just seen about an hour and a half ago about this end racism tag. Did you guys see that? You know how they do it on the back of the helmets, they do it in the end zone and all that stuff. Yeah, they pulled that for the Super Bowl. And I don't understand that at all. I have a problem with that. It seems like they're bowing down to some pressures, and I don't appreciate that. They're going to go with the Choose Love logos in the end zone. I don't know about the helmets, but I find that a little disturbing, just on a personal note. I'm not very happy about that. But as far as the Bears, everything seems to be going probably as good as could be expected. I was a little surprised at the polls thing, that they went ahead and re-upped him, but I thought they dragged their feet. But anyway, I'm excited about the offseason. I'm excited about the draft and free agency. So I think we're gonna. I mean, we've been spending money, so I think it's not gonna be the situation where, and not that I expected it to happen, but it's not gonna be, hey, we're going to lose, the top running back and we're going to end up with Swift, right? We're not going to, it seems like we're going to go for the big names that we should have been doing, and we're going to address this offensive line. So anyway, my thoughts.
So Chicago Clarence, you always have great final thoughts. I have a feeling I know what you're about to say.
Oh, we're going to talk about Hubert?
Away. Take it away, because he's had an interesting weekend. For all you that don't know. First, I don't remember what order they went. Obviously, Ohio State and Notre Dame. I'm not going to comment. Then we roll into, I wake up one morning, I see the Lakers have acquired Luka.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Chicago Clarence has got to be who knows what. And then North Carolina and Duke. I don't remember what order the trade went in the North Carolina Duke. But anyway, Chicago Clarence, take it away.
I was going to surprise you because as I have told you guys before, I had my annual health review a couple of months ago, and my doctor really told me to watch my blood pressure. So
What are the odds of that?
I have chosen not to address Hubert Davis. That will be at a later date, but just not tonight. But I want to ask you guys a question. What Super Bowl does this make for Patrick Mahomes?
He's
He
lost.
lost one, didn't he?
He
So
lost one to Tampa
5?
Bay, and he's won 3. So this would be his 5th off the top of my head.
So the reason why I bring that up is because,
Yeah.
as everybody knows, the dumbest trade in NFL history
Yep.
was
Goes the
constructed
blood
by
pressure.
our
Going up.
beloved Bears.
It's going up.
And Patrick Mahomes could have been a Chicago Bear for
Yes.
all intents and purposes, probably should have been a Chicago Bear. And I don't know if George McCaskey looks at the fact that here's a guy that should have been on your team when you needed a quarterback getting ready to play in his 5th Super Bowl, and we haven't even been to the playoffs, none in that span. That should bother you. And people talk about, oh, well, if you would have drafted him, you were just going to mess it up. All of that falls under leadership because it is your responsibility to draft the people to play for your team and to hire the people to construct your team. So if one fails the other, all of it is under your watch. And George McCaskey, you have failed this football team. You have failed this franchise. I am sick and tired of watching Patrick Mahomes play in Super Bowls, and
Yes.
we're sitting at home watching it. I am tired of it. You guys should be tired of it.
We are. I
Our
am.
fan base should be tired of it.
We are.
And I don't give a damn who Ben Johnson puts on this damn coaching staff. This shit needs to work. My patience is worn thin on watching mediocrity and stupidity at Hollis Hall. It is time all this shit comes together and begin to work. We, as a fan base, deserve better.
Yes.
It's more fun we sitting here and we talking about our team winning and we breaking it down. But I am tired of breaking down losses. I am tired of getting excited about an offseason and we get the trophy at the end and nothing formulates until when. This is the worst football season in the history of the Chicago Bears. And anybody who says differently, I challenge you on that. And I'm basing that on what the expectation was, on what the work that went into it to put everything together, and what the results end up being. It is ridiculous for us to sit there and make a trade for Mitchell Trubisky where we gave a 4 pick to get that guy. We turn around and we ruin him, and Patrick Mahomes is getting ready to play in his 5th Super Bowl. I'm tired of it. I want this to work. It needs to work.
You know, the thing that irks me the most is, I've said it before, I'm from Northeast Pennsylvania, Allentown. Damn, why didn't I choose Philadelphia as my team? Why? Why did I choose this team? I'd been thinking about that a lot lately. Why did I choose the Bears? I don't know. It was because of Walter Payton. If I would chose the Eagles, I would be celebrating at least NFC championships every other year the last couple of years. But instead, here I am, just like Chicago Clarence, just wanting to celebrate. Like, I want to see Michigan Avenue full of people like Broad Street in Philadelphia going nuts. I want to see a big-ass parade. It's just, is this day ever going to come for us? It's like, why?
And look at Jalen Carter.
Why?
Look at the stud Jalen Carter is in the middle of that defense.
Yeah.
And we were afraid to take him because we didn't know if our locker room could hold up and have him operate. Now, look at that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mistakes that organizations should not make.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter, Jalen Hurts is in his 2nd Super Bowl, correct?
Third. He won.
His 3rd Super Bowl? And Jalen Carter, Jalen Hurts is his 3rd?
Second. Nick Foles
This is
won
the
the one.
second.
Nick Foles, yeah.
Nick
Yeah,
Foles won
so
the first
he's
one.
in his 2nd Super Bowl,
Yes.
but this is just an example of what your teams can do when you make competent decisions. That's all I'm saying. That's just the point that I'm trying to make.
No, I understand. I get it. Everybody should get it. Like, we just do dumb shit. and we continue. I mean, hopefully the tide is turning. Hopefully the wind in the city is blowing in differently. It's blowing in wins and victories and trophies and parades and people going nuts on Michigan Avenue. So guys, 4 minutes left. Anything else we want to say quick? Anybody else? Nothing? All right, guys. Until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. Again, you can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Please follow us, subscribe to us, tell your friends, family, and fellow Bear fans all about us. Until next time, guys, bear down. Thank you.
Bear down.